Breaking news now. Military drills between China and Russia have been ramped up in response to U.S. sanctions. In regards to arming Russia's war machine in Ukraine, President Xi Jinping has refrained from going against Washington's red lines. But that hasn't stopped China from directly engaging with Russia's military. Last year saw the highest number of joint military exercises between China and Vladimir Putin's armed forces in over 2 decades. According to research conducted by the Center for the Study of Chinese Military Affairs at the United States National Defense University in 2022, this made up 2/3 of China's total military drills with foreign militaries that year. There were a total of 10 drills, 5 of which occurred after Putin invaded Ukraine. 2 were with U.S. adversaries like Iran and Syria, while 4 were bilateral. Professor of Politics and International Relations at Australia's University of New South Wales Alexander Korolyov argues that President Xi Jinping has every incentive to maintain and strengthen China's strategic alignment with Russia. As one expert put it, it's the most effective way to counterbalance against U.S. power. The United States has increased its military presence in Asia as China increases pressure on Taiwan, the self-ruled island Xi has vowed to claim someday. It has just opened a base in Guam and signed a defense pact with the Philippines. At the same time that Russia is complaining about NATO troops getting too close to its borders, China is worried that they will be encircled by the United States. Despite this, Xi has not criticized Putin's war. Instead, by buying its cheap commodities and through political engagement, China has provided economic and diplomatic shelter to Moscow. To date in 2018, the Chinese leader has traveled only as far as Moscow. However, due to American sanctions against Defense Minister Li Shangfu for a 2018 Russian arms purchase, China has halted its high-level military dialogue with the U.S. since 2020. When the two countries practice disaster response together, they haven't conducted any other joint drills. An accident involving their militaries is a real possibility due to their frequent and risky interactions with one another. There was a months-long conflict along their long border in the 1960s, and China and Russia have a tumultuous and suspicious history of defense. In 2015, after sanctions were imposed on Russia the year before for seizing Crimea by the United States and Europe, trust between the two regions was formally upgraded. Because of these actions and the United States' criticism of China's military expansionism in the South China Sea, both countries are actively seeking new defense allies. According to a report presented to Congress in February, this has caused some U.S. policymakers to express concern that China and Russia have formed a de facto alliance. Since Putin's annexation of Crimea, the NDU and Bloomberg News have counted at least 36 joint drills between Russia and China. That's in contrast to the 10 drills that were conducted in the decade prior to 2014. Putin's announcement in 2019 that Russia would assist China in constructing a system to warn of ballistic missile launches was unprecedented, according to Korolyov, and signaled a new level of defense cooperation. Such networks necessitate the use of both terrestrial radars and orbiting satellites. And Putin and Xi have managed to mitigate, if not eliminate, the existing psychological and political barriers to closer cooperation, he added. Russia and China rarely conduct large-scale military exercises like the United States and its allies. More than 17,000 American and Filipino soldiers participated in the latest, largest ever military drills between the two countries. However, China's joint military drills with Russia frequently carry heavy political overtones. For example, their yearly drills in the waters around Japan irritate a democracy with which they have a territorial dispute. Long-range bomber flight patrols over the Indo-Pacific region were conducted for the first time by the air forces of the two countries in 2019. In retaliation, Japan sent out a call for air support, and South Korea claimed the drills had violated its air defense identification zone. Both nations play a significant role as U.S. security allies. China announced on Saturday that Russian naval and air forces will soon be sent to the middle of the Sea of Japan to take part in an annual joint exercise. According to the People's Liberation Army, the drill is meant to improve the two militaries' ability to work together strategically, as well as their capacity to maintain regional peace and stability and respond to a variety of security threats. Research fellow at the Indus Center for the Study of Chinese Military Affairs Andrew Taffer predicts an increase in the frequency, political intensity, and political signaling value of such drills. In the words of the United States and its allies, it suggests the possibility that they might work together in ways that the U.S. and its allies find unpalatable, if not offensive. Two Russian warships made a rare transit last month along the east coast of Taiwan before continuing on to Okinawa, an island off the coast of Japan that is home to a major U.S. base. This was the first time that Russia and China had conducted joint drills in the region surrounding Taiwan. The vessels were headed for a stop in Shanghai. However, Putin's war in Ukraine has shown how unreliable Moscow can be as a military ally. Elizabeth Wishnick, a professor of political science at Montclair State University, argues that this is unlikely to discourage ties in the long run because Xi lacks a suitable replacement. She said, "There's a chance that China and Russia may help each other were there to be a crisis or a conflict in Asia.